Hey everyone, this is AD from Silverlight Studio and welcome back to the Gem series, the series where we take a look at the finest games across all platforms. And today, we're diving into Shogun Showdown by Robatino, a fresh release that's already gotten quite popular. Now, if you have played games like Slay the Spire or are a fan of the roguelite genre, then you will feel right at home with this one. That's not to say the game itself is not unique. No, Shogun Showdown is very unique, as you will soon see for yourself. A quick heads up before we start, all the footage is from the first few levels of the game and with the starting character, which means if you do decide to pick it up later, you'll still have plenty of surprises waiting for you. So, without further ado, let's dive into what makes this game special, starting, like always, with the options menu. Let's start with the audio options. Nothing fancy here, just the usual volume sliders, pretty basic, but it does its job. Now, on to the main event, the graphics, or rather video settings, and well, this is it. It's a pretty basic setup allowing you to toggle full screen and or VSync on or off, along with a few quality of life options like screen shake and a colorblind mode. Nice to see that they included colorblind options since not every game does these days. It's a minimal set of options, but honestly, this game doesn't need a bunch of complex sliders or toggles. Shogun Showdown should run smoothly on a potato, and in all my time playing, I did not encounter a single bug or a crash. And hey, if your machine can't handle Shogun Showdown, well, then you've probably got bigger problems to worry about. Next up are the controls. The great thing here is that the game offers full controller support and can be played entirely with just your mouse or just your keyboard if you prefer. Plus, the controls are fully customizable, which is always nice to see. Aside from these basics, you can switch up the language, replay the tutorial, or erase all your save data if that's something you want. With the options out of the way, it's time to dive into what Shogun Showdown really has to offer. Let's get into it. This is Shogun Showdown. When I first downloaded it and saw it was less than 1 gigabyte, I assumed the visuals would be pretty underwhelming. But how wrong was I? Answer: very. The game is very stylish and the art is exceptional. Every move has animations attached to it, and when it all comes together, it can almost feel like a rhythm game as you slice, poke, shoot, curse, and obliterate your way to victory. Now, let's get out the criticism first. The sound effects can be a bit hit or miss. Take the lightning strike, for example. It's decent, but could definitely use a bit more oomph. Something with a bigger blast to really drive home that impact. The overall sound design leans heavily into that retro 16-bit console vibe. It's not bad, but I personally would have preferred, let's say, something more spectacular. Aside from that, the animations are quick, letting you do your next move almost instantly as the last one finishes. Not only does this allow for a smoother game flow, but it also maintains that fast paced action vibe, which I have to say is very rare for a deck based roguelite game. The music, however, is spot on though. As it complements the backdrops of the levels perfectly. Every area and each boss that you visit has its own accompanying soundtrack, which just goes to show how polished this title really is. And even though the game is locked to a single 2D arena screen, the vibrant art, lightning fast combat, and stellar music all come together to create a spectacle that's way bigger than its humble file size would suggest. Now, having taken a look at the visuals, it's time to answer the big question. How does Shogun Showdown really play? Well, let's find out as we explore gameplay next. In Shogun Showdown, you play as a warrior, a mysterious fighter on a quest to take down the big bad boss, the Shogun himself. But why are you after him? What has the Shogun done to you? Did he kill your parents? Steal your woman? Or man? Burn down your village? Well, the game doesn't really tell you. The story is quite bare bones in Shogun Showdown. A handful of cutscenes, some spoken or written dialogue here or there, and that's it. I personally don't mind it, but just so you know, there isn't much story here. This title is more about the gameplay. Well, thankfully, the gameplay is simply amazing. It starts off simple and builds up as you progress into each run with a variety of cards, relics, etc. at your side, a bit like Slay the Spire. Here's how it works. This is you. Well, your character. He can do a few basic actions, queue up attacks, unleash said attacks, move left or right, or turn around. These basics are what you'll be using most of the time. Now, to attack, you pick up cards or tiles, as the game likes to call them, from your deck at the bottom and place them in your action queue. When you hit space, the actions in your queue get executed, in the order you set them up, starting from the bottom. At first, it looks deceptively simple, but things get complex fast as you unlock more tiles and abilities. You can set up some really intricate combos around it, and when your combo works the way it's supposed to, after waiting for the perfect moment to strike, it's just pure bliss. Not to mention that each character comes with a unique special move. For example, the starting dude can swap places with an enemy just by moving into them, if you're facing the right direction. But every move or tile has a cooldown, so you just can't spam them every turn. It just means you have to be strategic and think carefully about when to use your abilities. Then there are relics. These can really shake things up, offering perks like making some of your actions free or even altering how your tiles work entirely. They add another layer of depth and variety to each run. But the focus here isn't on building a huge deck of attacks, unlike some other roguelites. Shogun Showdown doesn't shower you with new cards at every step. Instead, it pushes you to upgrade the ones you have and build a strategy around them. I personally quite like this aspect, as this completely avoids having a huge number of useless cards in your deck that you might never use, blocking the ones that you actually want to use. It just helps keep things tight and focused. All of this wrapped up in a beautifully animated art style with some killer music and mostly solid sound effects make the combat a joy to experience. And speaking of combat, what do you get after beating up all the bad guys? Well, you get potions, new tiles, golden coins, upgrades, and most importantly, skulls. There are two currencies in the game: gold coins and skulls. Gold is used to buy items at shops that pop up after each stage. Skulls, on the other hand, are what you'll need to unlock new tiles and upgrades that persist between runs. Items unlocked with skulls are permanent and can appear in future playthroughs, while gold bought items are just for your current run. As you clear stages, you earn both currencies, letting you progress and expand your options in each new attempt. The whole game is turn based, and the enemies have to follow the same rules as you do. But despite the turn based structure, Shogun Showdown manages to generate a ton of fast paced spectacle as you push, pull, slash, pierce, shoot, and curse your way through hordes of enemies. And when you finally get the hang of it, when you finally set up a series of moves so devastating that the game has no choice but to plaster obliterate it on your screen, oh my god, it's so much fun. All in all, Shogun Showdown is an amazing little title. It manages to keep things fresh and interesting even in the later stages of the game. And nothing beats the feeling of swapping places with a bad guy, only then to have him impaled by his own buddy who is actually gunning for you. That's why I'm giving Shogun Showdown the gemstone rating of a ruby. It might not be the absolute best of the best, but it's definitely a standout gem in its genre. Anyways, that's all from me. This is AD from Silverlight Studio signing off. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, stay fly. Until next time.